Hi everybody, it's Laura and we're here in Art and Answers. I'm getting over that little cough. I'm so excited you guys are here and I'm so excited that I'm here. I just want to start off and tell all you guys, thank you so much for coming in on, my plans and really making my dreams come true. I couldn't do it without you. And my hopes are that I can help you make your dreams come true too. And help you be a better person, healthier, happier, and maybe a better artist too in the meantime while you have some fun. Hey, Tony. So today we are doing our Friendsgiving celebration. And you guys know, because you already got your supply list last week, that we're going to be doing this MAIZE, which is Indian corn. MAIZE is the technical name for it. I liked it because it was colorful, but it was, fall colors. So, and they're so soothing, but still exciting though before we come to winter. I wanted to make sure that everybody, hi Donna, I wanted to make sure that everybody had their supplies, and I think I will do a special video showing you guys how to do a transfer so that in the future we can just jump right in, okay? Because there's so many ways to transfer a design, and you can do it on almost anything. You can do it on fabric, you can do it on paper, you can do it glass, whatever. But there's lots of techniques, and it just depends on what you have available. And you can do it so many ways. But you know that my favorite way is with a light box. So let me back up. So you guys have your craft supplies, your paint supplies, and also hopefully a warm beverage, right? Is it cold where you guys are? Tell me if it's cold where you are. It's kind of chilly today. I'm in Georgia and it has been very, very warm, unseasonably warm. And I'm looking out my window at a beautiful sugar maple tree that's just quaking in the wind. That's all different colors. I mean, it's just perfect. It's beautiful. So, but I wanted to show you this. It's really a cool thing. We were in the mountains for Thanksgiving with my family one time, and we went to a tea shop, and they had these cups, and so there's boiling hot tea water in here. There's a top to keep it in, so I'm going to take that off and show you. And then you put your tea in here, and when it drains out, you put it in the top, and then you have your beautiful tea. I leave the top on after that because it's so hot. I mean, it really stays hot, but I kind of like that. So did you guys bring a warm beverage? What did you bring? Tell me. Do you have tea, coffee, hot chocolate, maybe a toddy? It's kind of early for a toddy, but all right. So I want to say thank you, and we're going to get right into it and get started. Since this is a Friendsgiving celebration, typically you have non-traditional Thanksgiving food at a Friendsgiving thing. So I thought maybe we would all offer virtually what we might bring that's not traditional Thanksgiving food. So you guys just type in there what you might be bringing to this event. Maybe your favorite recipe, maybe something gross, I don't know. And we'll have a conversation about it, okay? So I'm going to get you started doing the transfer, and then we'll get started painting, okay? So here we go. I'm going to turn you down to my table, and can you see everything? All right, so I ask you so I sent the tracer so you can print that. And this one is particularly easy because it's got such a bold font. And I think in the future I'm going to show you how to really make an original design and let your computer help you. And you don't have to have any special skills for this. I think that you'll really enjoy it. But anyway, this is a font that I decided on, and you can use it. You can put this under your 140-pound watercolor paper, and make sure that you get it straight. I noticed on this one it's just a little bit off. So what I did was I made sure that I measured from the very bottom of the letter to the top of the page, and let's see, it's exactly 3 inches from the bottom of the letter to the top of the page. That's just where I decided to put it. And of course, you always measure several times all the way down the line to make sure that you have a level word. I'm going to put you down here a little bit more so you can see better. Is that better? All right. So to transfer, you can use carbon paper. Carbon paper is not really my favorite because it does kind of smudge sometimes, especially with watercolor. But you can certainly use it, especially to just kind of give you some guidelines. I have this all marked off with pencil, if you can see it. I will probably be erasing that a little bit as I go because I don't want to really see the pencil lines through there. Sometimes it's fine with watercolor. And this won't matter because we're going to outline it with pen anyway. So you can put this on here, make sure that the shiny side is down, make sure that everything is measured out, and then press down with your pencil or a stylus and it will make the impression on here. So that's one way. There's lots of ways. That's why I decided to do a video for you. But this is actually my favorite way because it gives you so much more control. This happens to be a little light box, just very inexpensive ones. They have them a whole range of prices. So if you're interested in getting one of these, you can certainly find one. Or you can use your computer screen, your tablet screen, your window, if it's bright enough out there. Just take it, put it behind, and put it right up on your window and just trace it out. So those are some ways to get you started. Here we go. Who's going to be painting with me today? Or are you just going to watch? I know I typically tend to watch first. Anybody talking to me today? All right, so I'm going to tape this down. I'm going to put some of these things away. You guys know that I'm super tidy. I heard a thing the other day that was great. It said, don't put it when you tidy up. Don't put it away. Don't move it away. Put it where it belongs. And I was like, that makes so much sense. Because if you do it along, everything's always clean all the time, right? All right, so this is frog tape. And I just kind of eyeball this. I do like to get it straight on my plastic cutting board. That's an invaluable thing right there. That plastic cutting board is so great. And we're going to talk today about 2 different styles of art. And I'm going to kind of give you some pointers on what to do to give it a little different look if you want to. Okay? And you guys never have to do it exactly the way I'm doing it. You can always choose. You could choose a different font. You could choose different colors. You could go with, really wild, bright colors. You don't have to go with fall. But that's just what I decided. And we'll probably do some wild things pretty soon. But for this one, for this beginning one, we're going to do this. Okay. All right, so you get that on there, and then you really kind of press it down because you don't want your color seeping down under there if you want to have your really pretty white edges. Okay. Let's see, is anybody talking? Hey, Sandy, how are you? Sandy, do you have a beverage? I have hot tea. And honestly, it's so hot, it's almost dangerous. Okay. So I did kind of map this all out, but I'm going to kind of erase a little bit along just so it's not so, so you can see it so much. I don't want it to be able to be seen through the paint, but we're going to do some shading, and so a lot of this is not going to matter. And I will tell you about my pencil too. So now it just kind of looks like it's a little dotted line. I don't know if you can see it or not. I will tell you about my pencil. This happens to be an architect pencil, an engineering pencil. It's called Write in the Rain. It's very heavy. These pencils, you either love them or you hate them. And of course it's a automatic pencil, so it comes right on out. And you replace the lead, you replace the eraser. But what I like about it, not only is it heavy, but whatever lead it is, this says 1.3 millimeter, but it's a kind of a soft lead. So it makes a mark, but when you erase it, it erases completely. I know a lot of people like the gum racers, and you're welcome to use that if you like. This just happens to be the solution that I came up with, that I really like. They're not inexpensive. These are about $10 each, and I'll tell you a funny story. My son-in-law is a contractor, and he saw it in in my art studio, and he was like, "Wow, she has these pencils. They're really expensive." And my daughter said, "Oh no, she would never have 4 $10 pencils." But I do. I said, "Yes, I do." So anyway, all right. So I like to spritz my watercolors just a little bit. I mean, not much. You don't want them soaking wet, but you do want them a little bit wet. And I always start with a wet brush. Okay. And we're going to do wet on wet in these two things. So we're going to start off. You can use any size brush that you're comfortable with. I'm going to, you just paint within where you're going to put the paint. And when you do wet on wet, you don't have near the control that you do when it's dry. Because as soon as the paint hits the water, it begins to move and swirl, and it looks beautiful. Sometimes it's a little bit mesmerizing. So, but this is the only place you really kind of have to be careful. Excuse me. Because obviously you don't want your paint swirling outside of the line. Everything else I do is pretty much free. But when you do fonts, they really need to be legible. And as time goes by, we'll talk about composition and choosing contrasting colors, and maybe even the the size of the font so that it's easily legible from a distance. Or you can use that to your advantage. If you want to have something kind of secret in your art, you can hide it a little bit, but you got to know the rules so that you can break them. Okay, so I'm putting this water on here, and really you don't have to be worried about it because it's going to wet the paper and it's going to stay damp for, you know, a little while. And we're going to mix some colors today. Now, like I said, you don't have to do the same colors that I do. You can use colors straight out of the palette, out of your watercolor palette. You can use bizarre colors. I have really fallen in love with these neon colors, and they're acrylic. I have butterfingers today. And I thought maybe they might be interesting too, but we're not going to use those today. I just wanted to show them to you. Okay, so this is kind of I'm going to move this over so you can see the example a little better. Maybe. Can you see that a little better? Hey, Jamie. Good. Not good enough, though. You don't have to see that. I'll really get it in here where you can see. Good. How's that looking to you guys? Does it look good? Tell me. Did you guys bring a beverage? I brought the tea. It's, what kind of tea do you guys like if you drink tea? This one's a really good one. All right, so this is kind of a blended color. I took the blues and greens, kind of an olive. And if you don't have an olive, then you can mix a little bit of black in yellow, and it will make you this beautiful olive. So we're going to start with this. We're going to get some of the tedious work out to begin with, and then we can just have fun with the rest, right? I would certainly use a smaller brush if that makes you more comfortable. So we were talking about bringing non-traditional foods to our virtual Friendsgiving celebration today. What would you guys bring? What do you think? I mean, we could have hot dogs and hamburgers. I don't know. Oysters? How about oysters? I don't know, something like that. I think I'm going to put a little bit of turquoise in this color. Let's see if that's the whole, oh, there it is. There it is. So, olive and a little turquoise. And of course you gotta get a little bit of pigment on there. Sometimes you can make it lighter. Watercolor is going to dry a little lighter, whereas acrylic dries darker. So you have to kind of be careful. Depending on, you have to anticipate what the look you were going for. All right, maybe I can do it like that so you can see a little bit better. I wasn't planning on having kind of a life lesson chat today because we were just going to be talking and chatting. We are actually going to start that after the holidays, but we're still going to be doing a lot of fun things. I've had some requests, you guys. If you have anything in particular that you want to learn how to do, or you want me to use that as my inspiration for the next thing, you're certainly welcome to. So I've had some requests, just so you know. And I think they're going to be some really fun things. I got some really interesting and fun things planned for the holidays. Tell me what kind of winter holiday you celebrate. Hey Sue, how are you? So that way I can kind of get to know who you are and what you like. If you celebrate Christmas or Kwanzaa or Hanukkah. I mean, there's so many winter holidays. It can be almost anything. I'm sure there's some that I don't know about and I would love to learn. So you guys let me know. I need a little more olive here. You guys are being quiet today. Everybody's sleepy. It is kind of early. And we're going to move our times around so that everybody gets a chance to to come on live. Because I know you guys on the West Coast, it's pretty early. I'm kind of liking the way that this is kind of variegated in the color. Can you see it? I'll put some more turquoise in that one. And since it's wet, it's just kind of blending. It's kind of moving around. You see it? I'll put a little more water here. And part of the trick with watercolor is having the right amount of water. The right amount of moisture in the paint and on the paper. And I tell you, it's just something I can tell you all day long, but it's something you have to practice. But it's always nice to have some advice before you get started. Get those jitters out, right? And when you're doing this, try not to drag your hands through the paint, obviously, because otherwise you have smudges all over. And honestly, sometimes smudges are good. We're going to be doing some mixed media, and we'll probably be doing some finger painting on that mixed media for sure. By the way, I would like for everyone, and I'll make a post about this as well, but I would like for everyone to message me on my business page and let me have your address, your mailing address, because the mail has been really crazy, but I would like to send you something. We're going to have, periodically, we're going to have red envelopes of encouragement. Is that going to be exciting? You guys are going to get just totally surprised red envelope in the mailbox, and you will definitely be encouraged by some of the things that are in there. So I will need your mailing address, whether that be post office box or whatever, so that I can send you. It won't be big. It'll just be that size envelope. But lots of love can fit into a little envelope like that, right? Okay. So while this is kind of drying, then we're going to go through and we're going to put some water on the corn itself. And of course I erased some of it, so you have to kind of look. And I'm going to kind of connect these two, because then the paint will flow between them. I may or may not connect the next one. I connected all three of them last time, but I was thinking maybe I'd like to have them sort of separate this time. So what's everybody planning on doing for your own Thanksgiving? Are you even celebrating it, or are you traveling? Are you going to family? What do you like to eat when you get there? Is it just not Thanksgiving if you don't have your grandmother's recipe or something? All right. So I'm going to kind of let that water soak into the paper there a little bit. All right. So when you want a color palette to be cohesive. You need to choose different colors, and then you add the same color to all of them. So what I did here was, this was a red, and this was an orange, this was purple, this one has a little bit of turquoise, but I added an orange to that, and so it came out, so this was a yellow, and it came out more of a similar color to each one. There's a little piece of, a little dry piece in there. All right, so I'm gonna put that yellow, and I just kind of scrape it off into that well right there. See how that's bright yellow? And then we're gonna put the orange in there. All right. And then this one is red. Right there. I'm gonna put that in there. Just kind of give it a little puddle. And then we're gonna add that orange. To there. This one was a green. Oh, it wasn't that green. That's okay. We're gonna have a little bit different colors. And the yellow to this one. All right. And then we're gonna add turquoise and probably darker blue. I'm sorry if you can hear my tummy, my goodness. Talking about all this food. All right. And last but not least, we're gonna do the greenery, the dead greenery color. I'm gonna put this here with the orange. And I'm gonna add some purple to it because purple and orange are complementary colors, and you see how it makes that kind of natural brown fallish color. Okay, so this is gonna be our palette. And we've got our wet corn here. And you're just gonna kind of dab it around. And remember, this is where it blended, where I connected them. And you're just gonna kind of make it irregular. I'm gonna add some turquoise up here and make it different. I do tend to dip my water a lot, and sometimes that's not so good. But we're gonna have all these different colors. I like to put a little peach just straight out of the palette in there, lighten this up a little bit. And you notice I'm kind of staying away from the colors right now. I'm gonna let that dry a little bit. Because if we put the blue and the orange together, we're gonna have this brown, right? Similar brown, not exactly the same. See, I just did it. All right. Now the cool colors can blend, it's fine. little bit more of a bright green than I want. I'm gonna add some olive to that. Again, olive is yellow with a tiny little bit of black in it. If you don't happen to have an olive. See how this color is beginning to blend? They're kind of beginning to flow into each other a little bit. And as this gets a little drier, I can put the opposite color near it, just not right into it. This is approaching what we call the messy middle, where you're going, this looks terrible, but it's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. I'm gonna add a little bit more peach. You guys are being so quiet today. It's okay. I love it. I'm glad you're here. Let's see. Put some there. And it doesn't really matter because, you know, we're going to be using a different style. This is going to makes it very forgiving. I think I'll put a little of that brown here. And this is yours. This is yours. You just decide what you want. So I put a little bit of that brown. And that's probably a good strategy because it's going to be up here as well. So it'll make it a little bit more cohesive. I'm going to have really colorful Indian corn this time, which is okay with me. And once this is dry and we start adding some other colors, now see if it's bleeding right there and you don't like it, just suck it up with your brush. And it'll blend, it'll mend itself. Anyway, so when it all dries, then we'll be able to go back dry on dry, and these colors will be more vivid like they are right there. See that dark blue one right there? Okay. Put some more green in here. Now, if you have the luxury of walking away from this, that's really more what I would do, because the pigment will soak into the paper better. I'm gonna kind of go out here a little bit too. But if you need to use a heat tool or a hair dryer or something like that, you certainly are welcome to do it. And I'm gonna have to do that for you today because I did not have an opportunity to, sometimes, you know, I make the stages, I paint the stages or whatever. I did not have the chance to do that today. All right, so I'm gonna put a couple more dots of darker, just so we have a little bit of guidance there. Perhaps I'm not seeing your, maybe I swipe you to the side. I didn't know if I was seeing your comment. I guess I'm not seeing your comments. I just see who's here. Perhaps that will come back to me in a minute. Okay. So, if you have a chance to walk away, that would be great. But since we're not, I'm going to use my heat tool, which happens to be a Wagner. You can use a hair dryer, it doesn't matter. So, you guys go have a sip of your drink. I'm gonna have a sip of my drink while this dries up, okay? This has two different settings too. I kind of like it. I use it a lot. And I especially use it, you'll see us use it at the end when it's all dry. When the tape is sticking too much, then you can heat it up and let it go. So when this is really wet, sometimes it'll move, and that's why I'm holding this up and moving it around with the heat tool. It just kind of gives you an entirely different look. So see how that dried like that? That would never have dried like that in natural. Just drying naturally. But I kind of like it. It's okay. Sometimes if this makes this cutting board too hot, it'll start to warp a little bit. Just give it a little on the back side and it'll straighten it right back out. All right, so we got it dry. And we're now gonna do what is that called? The cob, the corn cob, the husk, that's what it is. The husk. And I'm gonna add a little bit of yellow just to the well next to it so I can add some to it. I just got water on there. I don't really want water in it. No problem. I'm sorry I can't see your comments, you guys. It takes a little of the celebration out, doesn't it? All right. This one I'm gonna do dry, wet on dry. And you don't have to get it exactly, you know, you don't have to go all the way around every little thing. Just kind of get the idea in there. Because we're gonna use our pen and outline some things and make some definition a little bit later. So see there's just a little dot in there, no big deal. And if you want it to be a little more transparent, you can just add some water. Sometimes I feel like I have too much ink. paint, I just dab it off a little. I think this needs some in here. I didn't draw it in there, but I'm gonna add it while I'm painting it because it's free. I can do whatever I want, right? And anytime you want something to be really free, did you notice when I was painting the letters that I choked down really close? But while I'm doing this, I'm really kind of way out on the end of the brush. Okay? And again, we can come back when it's dry, add a little bit more, add a little dimension to those husks. You guys have corn where you live? We have corn where I live too. So I got a little paint there. Sometimes you can just scrub it off. And then dab it and it's gone. It's like magic. All right, and I chose to use a really neutral color for the background because I felt like the colors would pop off a little bit. I'm just gonna put that over there. And I just use this right out of the well. So I am gonna use wet on wet with this though, because it'll give me a little more control so that it doesn't seep into this wet paint on the husk part. So we're just gonna wet this. You would have control if you were using dry too, but it wouldn't have that swirly look to it like the corn does. See how this has kind of a swirly, it's a little darker on the corners, which I did that on purpose to make a vignette. Vignette just means the corners are a little darker and it gives a little definition. It brings when it's darker here, it brings your eye to the center that's brighter and more colorful. And being kind of careful in between here. I'm sure watching someone paint with water is like as exciting as watching paint dry, right? I'm so happy you guys are here. I think about it all the time. When I have time to daydream and I'm thinking, oh my goodness, I'm so happy for these ladies. Each of you are so different and so fun. I just value each of you so much. Put that in there. All right. I feel like my thing has moved a little. I'm sorry. How about that? Can you see better? All right, so I'm gonna take this gray straight out of the well. Wow, is that dark? Okay, so, and I'm just gonna add some water to it. It's kind of a small amount, really, of water on the paper, and so I'm adding more water to it so it will flow. And remember, this is gonna dry lighter. I remember when I did it before, I was like, ooh, goodness. Again, I'm holding the brush at the top so that I get a little bit more whimsical look to it. Free, nothing to be nervous about, right? Now see, if you put that on there and you're like, oh, it looks terrible, so what? Put some water on it and just blend it out. It's gonna be great. I know you guys do this too. You get to thinking and you get quiet. That's why art is so therapeutic, because you can really get lost in yourself. All right, so I'm going to add a little extra color. You don't want it to be stark, but I'm going to add a little more pigment to the corners to create that vignette. I did not put any sprinkles on the prototype, the example, but we might do that today. I think that would be nice to have some of these colors out here in the background. Okay, so this is something that I do tend to do sometimes when I get finished with the background. I do kind of wipe what's on the tape because it doesn't dry at the same rate as the paper does. And so sometimes you're dealing with this beautiful piece of artwork and then it, what's on the tape just bleeds onto your artwork. So I'm gonna come down here and just kind of wipe all this tape off. And you notice I got it on the paper. It doesn't matter because it bleeds right back into that spot again. Here's a little bristle off my brush. Now, if that doesn't look like a mess, I don't know what does. But it's gonna be okay, it's gonna be beautiful. Now that this husk is a little drier, I'm gonna suck some of this up. There we go. Okay, I'm gonna add some of the green in the husk Not very much, and honestly, I want a darker, like a dark green. Let me see. See how that's got a lot of blue in it. I don't really want that. I'll add a little more olive to that. Yeah, and see that's going to blend this and this into the husk. And you're just going to kind of do a few little edges like I just did there. We're going to draw in the low lights down there, so you don't have to worry about that. We're going to do a little bit right there, maybe a little bit here, because this one comes at a different angle. I'm going to come down here. This doesn't take much of this. Just little hints of it. And I don't like this. I don't like how dark that is, so I'm going to just blend that down. And that's a little bit too harsh of a line. All right. How we doing, you guys? Time for some more tea. Don't forget to send me your, PM me your mailing address so you can get some encouragement red envelopes in the mail. Okay. Now, as this is starting to dry, and I'll probably use the heat tool again, I want to show you some different strategies that you can use to make it look a little bit different. So I just kind of drew this out real quick. I hope that you can see it. So this is more of a folk art style because you have all this very loose line work and stuff. So it's definitely a lot freer and a lot looser. But if you wanted to have, you can still do this folk art type style. But if you wanted to have it look a little more realistic, then you'll have to put some perspective into the corn itself. Now see, with this one, I just sort of basically went straight down, straight lines. And they're ovals, but you can actually use them like rectangles with curved edges. Does that make sense? So I'll put this over here so it can dry. So a rectangle with a curved edge. So you have, a rectangle has 4 sides. But if you add the sides curvy, like a circle, then that really is going to look more like a kernel of corn. See that? Or you can just make your kernels of corn like this, like I did, because that's what I wanted. It was okay, no problem. But if you're going to make it a little more realistic, then you have your corn and you put a straight line down the center. And this is a curved thing, so it's like this. So your eye is going to see a curved edge here and a curved edge here. And you can make more, you know, if you want to, depends on how much time you want to spend drawing your kernels, but you can make more lines. But you're going to make your kernels straight down this line, and then you'll start making them a little curvier, a little angled here. Okay? And the next one, the same thing, a little bit more angled. And the outside ones will poke out a little bit. Does that make sense? Can you, let me see, can you see? So it's all about perspective. It's all about making it look rounded. And you can do a lot of that with the highlights and the lowlights, which we'll be doing anyway. But if you want to make yours a little more challenging and a little more rounded looking, then you are perfectly welcome to try this, okay? You can even try it, you know, on another piece of paper if you want to, and just, if you really like it, then you've made your own template. if you do all this and you really like it, then you just put it back on your light box or whatever, put this back down, and then you can trace it on here if that makes you nervous. If doing it freehand, you know, on your actual piece makes you nervous. Okay. So I'm going to dry this off a little bit more, because the last thing you want to do is put your ink, use a pen or a paint pen on wet paint, because once you wet it like that, it will really ruin it. You know how you can tell if it's dry? If it still feels damp, if it still feels cool over here, then it's actually still damp. If it feels warm, or the temperature of your air, then it's dry. Tea, ladies. I want to show you something that happened, but we can use it to your advantage in the future. You see that right there? That's where I dropped a drop of water, and it dispersed the pigment of the paint out, so it's lighter here. It almost gives you a bokeh look, but it doesn't matter because we're going to put the pens over it anyway. So let me get rid of this, and I don't need that anymore. My poor little paper towels aren't they? Sometimes these paper towels turn out so beautiful, don't they? When they dry up, they're really, like I've thought, I think I'll save some and use them in mixed media, right? Excuse me. So, I'm going to use a micron. This is a micron. This happens to be an 08. Sometimes, it just depends on what you're doing. I kind of like this size, but you can use whatever size you want. You can try it. But the reason I use this is because it's not only waterproof, doesn't bleed, but it's also archival. So it won't just fade away. Excuse me, in the future. So again, you're gonna use kind of a very loose way of drawing this out, and so I'm just gonna and you have to kind of go a little bit slow so that the ink can blend in there. But you see how I deliberately didn't make that a straight line? And then we're gonna make this into its own little corn cob and do the same thing right over here. You see how I'm using my finger as I don't know if you can see it, but when I draw along, I put my finger down as a fulcrum. So see? So that you have a little bit more stability. And number 3, piece of corn. Now listen, you can angle these toward each other out. I just decided to do them straight like this. And I'm gonna go ahead and do the cob. The husk, this is the cob. And you don't even have to stay on your pencil lines if you don't want to. It's all about being kind of free. Let me do it this way so you can see better. I'm having a hard time today. Everything seems like, I bet you I have this camera a little lower than usual. Okay. And that would make everything bigger and not fit into the screen as well. All right, and trying to go too fast. It's not coming out. All right, so this is kind of pinched. So you'll be making a few little things like that. Wrinkles, pleats, whatever you want to make it look pinched. And you want to make sure that they come out of each corn, each cob. Bring some more lines up here. And then you're going to start. So also with the kernels, you want to make sure that, see, you already have your colors here, so you don't have to worry about any of that. So you're going to draw in your kernels. See how these are sticking off the edge? But notice at the bottom, they're much smaller than up here, because that's just how corn grows. It has little smaller kernels because they don't have enough room to develop like the ordinary, like the ones up here, because it's in a conical shape. So we're going to go around. I am not going to draw every one of these because I can't imagine anything more boring. But I am going to get you started. I did mine in rows, going down. Like I said, you can do the perspective one. And then, not everywhere, but in a lot of places, I put some shadow, right? Those aren't corn worms. They're actually little dark shadows. They just add a little interest, and that's why they're not everywhere. And the last thing is shadowing. So the letters need a little definition. And what I did with this one was I put shadow on this side and highlight on this side. And so literally what I do, this is my little hack, is I kind of put my head down close. Put my head down close like I'm looking at where the shadow would be, because the light is coming from here. Think about those big letters on the grocery store and how dark they look on the bottom and on the side that you're looking at. So because of that, you're going to make a dark line here and a dark line here. And you just go through all the letters like that, where it would be that you would see it if you were standing underneath it. And you go through all those letters like that. And you will have your reference photo to look at. I don't know where my cap is. Here it is. So that you can get some of these details worked out. And I'm going to take the tape off so you can see, because I don't want to keep you forever and a day. So I'm just heating up the adhesive that's on the tape there. And kind of pull it gingerly. I do want you to get in the habit of signing and dating your work. If it makes you nervous to put your signature on the front at first, that's fine, but put it on the back, because it's just a matter of housekeeping. I noticed that when I do a piece of work and I I always have the date on the back. Then when I go back and I say, hey, when did I do this? Not only do I know when I did it, but I know when it's been photographed in my camera roll. So I can go back to today. I can go back to November the 21st, and by golly, that's where that photo of that particular artwork will be. And it just makes your life so much easier if you were to decide you wanted to do it again or give it as a gift or something, then you would be able to find it. And the nice thing about knowing where to find it in your camera roll is cameras are so wonderful, phone cameras are so great now, that if you wanted to print it, take it to a printer literally and print it up to like 8 by 10, sometimes even 11 by 14, depending on the resolution. You can make your own print of this, or you can make it smaller and make cards or anything. Then you could send out your very own Thanksgiving cards, and people would have your original artwork on their card. Wouldn't that be incredible? All right. So when you get all the details of these corn kernels on there and the shadow for your letters, then you're going to end up with something beautiful. And I'm going to bring you up here. Thank you guys for coming. I can't wait to see your version. I want you to post it. And you don't have to post it just yet, but I'm going to make a share post for this particular one, and everybody can put them all there together so we can all enjoy each other's art. All right. I'm so sorry I didn't get to see anybody's comments, but I certainly will come by and see if you had any questions, and I'll answer those questions. If you come by, I know a lot of people were going to come see the replay because it's kind of early. So give me a hashtag replay if you do that. And you guys, thank you so much for supporting me. I want to support you, help you, and make you healthier and happier, and enjoy your art as for your make your brain sparkle, right? So happy Friendsgiving. Happy Thanksgiving in person. I'll be telling you online too. So thanks for coming. We'll see you soon.